There's a few areas in my life where I feel fear. And for instance, I love doing things that can be a little risky. Some yoga postures, gymnastics, backflips, front flips, these things that are very exhilarating to me, that feel good. And there's always that little what if I want to keep myself safe? Are there specific ways to get into alignment with just safety, other than just thinking safe thoughts, that can help me overcome the fears of getting hurt?
Well, there are some things that you can do as you get apparatuses or nets or things that make you feel that no matter what, you'll be all right. But even with all of that, we would encourage you, when you come up against a possible action and you feel some trepidation or fear about it, put the action off and take it to your workshop and work through it mentally until the fear does not exist.
Oh, I know what you mean.
And then move forward in the fearless action. We would not. There are people who say, well, I pushed through my fear. Or if you do something that you fear long enough in time, you'll stop fearing it. And we say, well, most of what you fear is not right on your doorstep. But we never encourage you to disregard your emotional guidance that is telling you that you're pointed upstream. And that's what fear is telling you every time. You're pointed in opposition of what you want. And if you move forward, you're moving forward at a handicap because you are focused in the wrong direction. It would be paramount to getting out there, getting ready to do something gymnastically and not being focused. You know the power of focus and what it brings to you.
Right. I mean, there's a funny place where you're a little nervous and excited, and that's not the sensation of fear.
Well, you want to learn to differentiate between the call of source and the opposite of it. In other words, excitement is one feeling and fear and trepidation is another. And as you don't move forward in the action until you have envisioned the outcome that you want, and that feeling of fear subsides. Sometimes you can do it right while you're standing there getting ready to mount whatever you're mounting. In other words, you can do it in the moment, in time. We're not saying you have to go home. You have to stop everything, stop the clock, stop everything. I have to go off and take care of this. But as a general rule, we would not take action when fear is present.
Okay. So to feedback, what I'm hearing is, I want to do anything, and I feel the sensation of fear. Don't do it. Either right there, think about it, see it in my mind's eye as being totally capable of doing it and getting the feeling inside right.
Well said.
And then
say to yourself, I'm about to embark upon an action journey, and the fear indicates that my energy isn't in the right place for this action journey. So I'm going to step aside from the action journey for a moment and see if I can clean up the emotional journey. And as soon as I clean up the emotional journey and the fear subsides, then I'll step back into my action journey and I'll get the results from it I want.
Okay.
Jerry's favorite story. He's getting on a horse on a movie shoot. The horse is frisky and balking. And so Jerry says to the wrangler, I think I need a different horse. This one's going to be too much interruption. And the wrangler gives him another horse, but mocks him and says, you're just afraid of that horse. And Jerry said, I'm not afraid of it, which wasn't true. In other words, he had healthy fear. He felt uneasy. And so the wrangler said, you're just afraid of that horse. I can ride this horse. And the wrangler jumped up on the horse. The horse reared its head back and knocked all of his teeth out. And we said, that's what overcoming fear will get you. In other words, he didn't overcome his fear. He disregarded his fear. He had come to the place where he was controlling rather than paying attention. In other words, Jerry could sense the attitude of that horse and its lack of cooperation in that moment, and stepped apart from the action, and it served him very well.
So that's fear being avoided. Can people also avoid consciously diseases and cancers and wellness just by being
let us say this another way. We don't want you to avoid fear. We want you to have a healthy respect for it. We want you to understand that we don't want you to ever say, I will one day be fearless. Because that's like saying, I will one day have no sensing in my fingers, and even when I lay on the hot stove, it won't bother me. I can see it's hot. I can see it's hot. I can smell the smoke. And yet, I do not feel it. So we want you to have a healthy regard for fear, and we don't want you to ever say, I want to be completely away from it.
Sure.
Instead, we want you to say, fear is my indication of my energy alignment. And I want to be sure before I move forward in action that my energy alignment is what I mean for it to be. That's the difference between inspiration. Inspiration is always action inspired from alignment. Motivation is often moving forward even though I've got my vibration split. But I'm moving forward anyway because I feel I have no choice. So a good rule of thumb is day to day to day, just do as much as you have to do or need to do, but let it be more about the emotional journey than the action journey. And in time, we won't be talking about the difference because they will be one for you.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay.
Something more?
I could go on and on, but I'd love to give everyone else a chance. Thank you.
Yes.
Abraham, nice to see you again. I really feel conscious by the microphone. A few weeks ago, no, probably a couple of months ago, there was, I hear you mention something about breathing. In fact, I believe you started, or part of the segment, it was actually inside the answer. Inside the answer, it was not the subject of the question. But you actually started by saying that this is the technique of all technique in letting go of, in allowing. That really got my attention when I was driving. So, well, that's it. If I can hear this, then that's all there is to know.
You're right.
Because the rest is automatic, like you keep saying. I mean, the wanting, the receiving, all of it is there. It's all this there's left to be done is to allow. So when I heard you saying that's the technique of all technique of allowing, I had to maintain control of my freeway. and surprisingly, no, you didn't go on, you only talk about it for a couple of minutes and you kept it very simple. I was just hoping you could maybe expand on this idea of using breath, breathing, something as basic as breathing to allow, to put us in a place of allowing.
Well, you are very wise and accurate, as you say. Everything else is taken care of because the contrast causes me to launch desires, and source becomes one with the desire and sets up all of the universal forces of attraction in order to bring it about. And so the only thing that is for me to do in my physical form is step 3, which is get out of the way and let what I've asked for and what source has already become be. Let myself stay up to speed with that which I've become. And so the reason that we say that breathing, focused breathing, is the most powerful process of all processes is because when you are focused upon your breathing, really focused upon your breathing, you cannot be focused upon something else at the same time. And in other words, you cannot worry about something and focus upon something else at the same time. So as you focus deliberately upon breath, what begins to happen is you allow the energies of your body. In other words, just breathing brings oxygen into your body, and the oxygenation of your blood is more extreme. All things about your body begin to improve just with that breath. But besides the physiological effect of bringing more oxygen into your experience is the focusing, which at the same time that you're bringing the oxygen in, you are less likely to be resistant, which means that the cells that have been asking for all of this rejuvenation are now being enhanced on 2 fronts at the same time. And so as you breathe more and more deeply, what begins to happen is you begin to feel your resistance lifting. And as you begin to feel your resistance lifting, you begin to feel yourself feeling relief, which is your evidence of actually turning more into the stream and allowing yourself to go. Really, it is the answer. It's the best part of meditation. It's the best part of yoga. It's the best part of running. It's the best. There is so much that almost everyone that talks about being in the zone is doing something that causes them to breathe more. So it's interesting, however, that the idea of just sitting and breathing more is a little bit more trouble than most of you want it to be or would think that it is. In other words, breathing on purpose takes some focus. And most people, we wanted to tease you a little bit and say, well, we don't need to talk about it more because it's so simple. Breathe more and thrive. Step 1, step 2, step 3, and step 3 is breathe. But the reason that it seems to take more convincing is because it does take some attention and some focus in order to breathe. When you breathe deliberately, if you are running, let's say that every day you are taking a brisk walk and you are bringing in more oxygen. Have any of you noticed the improvement of your mood when you walk? Especially when you walk by yourself, which means there's nobody walking with you who is complaining or to whom you can complain. Mm-hmm. In other words, you're less likely to complain out loud anyway when you're by yourself, these are other advantages. In other words, you're walking, you're taking in the oxygen, you're focused upon whatever it is you're doing with your body, and you're thriving on all fronts, and that is why.
Okay. So the crux then is the absence of thought, because I'm focused on my breathing.
The absence of thought or the absence of resistant thought. And so what running does, you're focused upon what you're doing. And so there's no resistant thought. What sitting and breathing deliberately does is you cannot focus upon something that's bothering you and upon your breathing at the same time. And wait, let us give you what is at the heart of this. You are a being made up of beings. You have trillions of cells that are all vibrational. And they all, without exception, benefit by the oxygen that you're breathing, by all that is contained within the air that you're breathing, and by the energy that you are allowing. So your deliberate breathing is more beneficial because of the energy than it is anything else. But everything that comes with it is beneficial to your body too. So think about it. Been saying all day long today that every point of consciousness, you thought we were just talking about you when we were talking about every point of consciousness, including the one-celled organism or the cells in your body. So the cells are having their exposure to experience, and they are launching their rockets of desire into their vibrational escrow. And guess what those desires that those cells are launching are all about? Your physical well-being. So there's this huge vibrational escrow, which is the culmination of what the cells in your body are asking for, that is there for you to breathe yourself into alignment with. It is very powerful. You think that food is delicious. You should try fresh air. In the same sort of deliberate attitude. In other words, you go to a particular restaurant, you choose a particular place you want to sit, you choose a particular person you want to eat with, you choose a particular cuisine you want to eat. You sometimes even orchestrate it to find the perfect chef that's going to be there on the night that's going to make it just the way you want. In other words, you are picky about what you eat. Why not be deliberate breathers? Why not look for the air? Why not deliberately go outside? Why not go out there at the time of the day that you think that the air is even the most beneficial? Why not take yourself to places deliberately with the intention of breathing? Why not open your windows more often? Why not sit under the tree more often? Why not go to the gardens where the air is even fresher? Why not go to the ocean? You have very much around here where the air is even better. Why not deliberately become a breather? Why not fill your lungs with the very best that you can give them? You say, why not focus and thrive?
Okay.
And breathing and eating. Breathing and eating. Breathing and eating.
You might be onto something, I think.
Is the best food there is. Breathing and having sex is the best sex there is. Breathing and appreciating, breathing and basking, breathing and smelling the flower, breathing and finding the memory. In other words, let your breath be your platform from which you intake the best that you can find in life.